Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, joined by my co-host, Mr. Michael Hall. The title of tonight's episode is No Voltage, and we're going to be joined here by Felix Trammell very, very, very soon, recapping Washington's kind of insane victory of 27-10 over the LA Chargers. I am so grateful that they opened up their new stadium for us to run them over in. That was truly was a pleasure. But what's up, man? How was the game for you? I know that we were talking in the group chat. You were saying 5 is back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, went and watched it over at my mom's house, like right down the street. Watched it with a couple of my brothers. My brother's a Broncos fan, so he was pulling for us. So he was hyped up that we were like smashing the Chargers. But yeah, it was a good game. Like you talked about, kind of alluded to. It started out not kind of rocky, kind of shaky, but they definitely got it together. And I think that along the way, you kind of saw that Jaden was kind of getting into a rhythm and kind of started looking like the Jaden of old, if you want to call him that, because it was only a year ago. But yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah, it definitely seemed to be the case. He was keeping his eyes downfield. He was escaping out of pressure a lot and was keeping his eyes downfield, finding open receivers, moving his legs to move the chains, and obviously getting down quickly just to be able to get the yards needed. Not looking back at anybody, trying to get flipped over again. Don't need any of that, and he didn't do that, of course. But now we are joined by our man, Mr. Felix Trammell. Thank you for joining us on this Monday evening, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good, fellas. How we doing? How we doing?
Doing fantastic. I think it'd be easy for us to hand out game balls or game beers, as we like to hand out on this show. Who is an underrated hero that deserves some spotlight that normally wouldn't get it?
I'm gonna pick somebody who's been. I'm gonna pick two people. Somebody that no one mentioned yesterday, and then somebody who's been much maligned. My first one's gonna go to Chris Paul at left guard. When did you see Chris Paul yesterday? Did you ever see him? That means he did his job. And I think the last 2 weeks, Chris Paul has stepped into the starting lineup and has shown a lot of strength, a lot of power, good feet, and just overall solid line play that people just generally didn't expect. So Chris Paul would be one that no one's talking about. No one's. I don't think I've heard anyone mention his name. But if you go back and look at the film, he did very well against a good Chargers front. And my second one would be Marshawn Lattimore. He took a lot of heat in Atlanta. He took a lot of heat. And if you go back and look at the Chargers, and go back and look at the film, Marshawn played a heck of a game. He was physical. He was good in coverages. They tried to get him with some of those switches and quick motions that other teams had got there. And you can see the adjustments were there. And so we like to bash when people are down. I think we need to celebrate when people do well. And that was another name. You didn't hear his name other than him recovering the fumble. That lets you know that he did his job well. So y'all like to give out beers? I like beer. Those would be two guys that no one's mentioning today who put in very good work yesterday and contributed to the Commanders' win.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with those two names. And speaking of Lattimore and Atlanta, everyone and their mothers was killing that defense coming off that game in Atlanta. And if you kind of look at the pattern of this defense, whenever they kind of don't play up to their standard, they usually bounce back the next week and have a pretty good performance. But I don't think people thought that they would hold a high-powered Chargers offense to 10 points. Did you expect that from the defense yesterday? And do you expect, not like that same performance, but do you expect them to keep trending up throughout the season?
I think it was a good recalibration game. You can see Joe Witt made some changes and some changes for the better. You saw a lot more of McGee in base, which originally I thought we would see a lot of, but I think the offenses that they faced dictated that they were being more nickel than they were in base. But just that adjustment in and of itself, you saw Percy Butler back. that mattered. You had more speed and physicality. So they're starting to mix and match more to dictate to the situation. Did I think they hold them to 10? No. But I did think they would play better. And I think once they finally realized that, hey, the Chargers can't really block us, let's go dominate this game. The defense decided to do that, and they turned the game on its head. So they got that one turnover in the second quarter, but when they really just started ratcheting the pressure, the Chargers didn't know where it was coming from, and it was taking hero ball to get a first down. And when anytime you're getting hero ball just to get first downs, the defense is winning. So I think there was a lot of adjustments made, which it shows that they're putting teams in the right players in the right situation. The Chargers presented a different, and I think if they change too, I think the defense will do right. I absolutely believe that.
I agree with you there. What would you say was the play that kind of, because to be honest, down 10-0 to come back with 27 unanswered points, to finish that game on a 99-yard drive, which hasn't happened in decades, if I'm not mistaken. What was the turning of the tide, in your opinion, when that game switched?
Everyone speaks to the fumble. I speak to the 3rd and 15 or 16
to Jalen Lane.
that Jalen Lane throw and catch, because the line blocked well. Jalen Lane ran an excellent route on a former commander, to be named later, and the throw from Jaden was impeccable. He came out his break. That ball was there. And that, I think, relaxed the offense. It got Jaden there it is, time to boogie, and everyone came along for the ride. So everyone would say the turnover, to me, was that 3rd and 15, 3rd and 16, when you saw that throw, that was the offense of last year. In those situations, bam, make a play. And as soon as they did it, they put the foot on the gas and they never let up. So that would have been my turning play of the game, was that 3rd and 15 on that end route on St. Juice. That was the throw. That was the throw. That was the play, because he threw it to a rookie. He threw it to a rookie on 3rd and long, and the rookie made a play. So
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Some would even argue is the punt that Tress Way got knocked over in, and then the big play to Luke McCaffrey right after that, which was just like watching on the all-22 from the end zone view. It is absolutely beautiful. You see that ball spiraling the whole way right into Luke's breadbasket. It was fantastic.
Yeah, if you put NFL quarterbacks with no pressure in that spot and have them do that 5 times, they may get 1 out of 5, maybe 2. So to do that in that moment, in that situation, a slight flash rush, he didn't really step into it, if you notice it. He doesn't
I was
really.
going to say flat-footed at that.
He was flat-footed, but just the accuracy and zip on that ball. That was something everyone's always asked me Jaden's best throw of last season, and everyone wants to go to the Hail Mary. To me, is that De'Ami Brown pass in the Lions game. I remember sitting in the press box like, who in God's name is he throwing it to? And then you just see it drop there, and you're like, how did he see that?
Yeah. On the run too, Felix. That he was on the move.
He was moving it. So you're sitting there, and I wish you guys could see as much practice as we can. We don't get to see as much now that the season starts, but just see those plays happen in the games. And I think someone was talking with Frankie yesterday, and they were talking we see Jaden do this at practice all the time. It's almost expected now. But that throw, to go back to yesterday, that throw was sensational. And that flipped the game on his head, and it was and now next thing you know, it went from 17 to 7 to 10-10 at the half, and it was over then.
Yeah, they did what they did so well last year, which was get points at the half, come back in the second half and get the ball right back and march down and get points again, just kind of double up on them. So that could definitely be the turning tide as well. There was a couple turning points in that game that's kind of just all the momentum just shifted right to us. But the defense, going back to defense a little bit, a guy that was maligned in the offseason was Javon Kinlaw because of his track record at different spots. And I was one of them guys that said, hey, who cares what he did in the past? It's what he's about to do now. Adam Peters in this front office has a track record of, hey, just like Zach Ertz. Everyone thought Zach Ertz was done. Reclamation project. Now look what he's doing for the most part, back with us. So I said, let AP Cook see what he does. And he's been a huge, huge piece for this defense. And I call him Big Kinfolk because that's my guy right there. But what have you seen from him? And are you surprised that you're seeing this from him due to all the talk in the offseason about how he hasn't lived up to his potential.
There were even some snaps where he played outside on D end and blew up some run plays.
I mean, you mentioned it, and I was one of those guys like Kinlaw's going to be a great signing, and everyone kind of like, I don't know, he was blah 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 blah. There was a reason for that, and he has a new birth of life, like a new birth on his career coming home. He is so quiet. When you talk to him and we interview him, it's like a whisper. But then you see him walk in the room, you just feel him there. Like you just know he's there. And I think he's become a leader of that line. Deron Payne is probably a little bit more talented, just pure talent. But Deron Payne is not a vocal guy. He's not a leader type guy. Kinlaw has kind of accepted that role. And if you notice, he was the one that talked to the team yesterday. He had some words for the team, and he showed it. Like you said, Kyle, he lined up at DN, and that was going to be the Dietrich Wise sort of thing. And he is blowing up the run. And Washington's run defense is night and day better than it was in previous seasons. Like Hampton is a good running back, and I hope on all accords he's healthy. I know he had an ankle injury in that game.
4 weeks.
So 4 weeks, yeah, the high ankle sprain, that happens, but the way they just started just pushing the pocket and getting to those runs. And Kinlaw is a good piece for that. So I think people too much look at previous situations because you don't know previous situations. There could be coaching flux, coaches coaching for their job. All the position coaches are looking elsewhere to get a job. They know something's happening. Or it's a brand new coach, doesn't know what they're doing. They're on a team that's in rebuild mode. I mean, we're speaking from a place of comfort now, but a few years ago that was Washington. And like, how do somebody perform in those moments? Like, put them in a better situation where you know the guys up front and that front office want you there and have good expectations of you. People tend to thrive, and that's what we saw out of him. You're seeing that week after week. That I thought they mixed up the line very well. He's not a big ego guy. I mean, Johnny Newton had one of the plays of the game deflecting that pass. I mean, we had previous guys who didn't want to come out of the game that wanted to try to get stat. Kinlaw is about winning, and he's getting the job done wherever he's lined up. So that's another hit for Adam Peters, and he's had more hits than misses, and that's another hit right there.
Absolutely is. Now the rookie right tackle Josh Connerly, another guy who's been kind of dragged, given with his start to the season. Felix, how did you think he did yesterday? Because his name didn't pop up very much, but in the run game he was all over the place.
Yeah, you didn't hear his name. I mean, he had probably as rough of a start to a season as you can have. Just the lineup you had. The Giants D line is amazing. On a short week, you fly to Green Bay and you got to face Parsons and that defense, who was just hot. They were hot. It was a short week. They were hot.
Green Bay.
Then next thing you have Crosby, who's a phenom. And Raiders may not be good, but he's an absolute amazing stud. And then you have the Falcons defense, which has some good young rushers in it. But he's getting there. And at the beginning of camp was like, I don't know. But then after a while, he's settled in. And I think they're doing things that are good for him. Two things that helped him out. Wally playing right guard helped him tremendously. Just better overall player, better communicator. So that helped Connolly. And two, they schemed better for him. So, he's not always on an island. So he's getting his confidence back. And I believe that Cosby plays a week from tonight. And him lining up next to Cosby is just going to make him even better. And like you said, you didn't hear his name. And the Chargers have a good defense, but you didn't hear his name. And part of that is Five back there also played a very good game. And when the quarterback's playing a good game, the linemen are usually taken care of. So it all worked hand in hand. But Connolly is definitely trending up because he had a baptism by fire. But guess what? He showed back up. He's working at it. He's only going to get better from it. So the panic button, that was week one. I told everybody to pump the brakes. We're seeing it calibrate itself out.
Yeah, calibrate is probably the best way to be able to say it, Felix. But to wrap this up, only have a couple more questions for you, brother. But you kind of talked about the right guard spot, and we got to talk about some possible players returning from injury. Just your guesstimation, do you think that Terry and Sam Cosmi will suit up against the Bears this week?
And
Yes.
Noah Brown, you can throw Noah Brown on that mix too.
Noah's the one I'm more questionable about. I think Cosme, this was always my target for Cosme, was this game. And I think this is the game we see Cosby back because I think he's ready. I think he's fully strengthened that leg. He's ready to go. So I do think we see him. I think Terry was more of a quad strain. And with those big muscles that Terry, you got to make sure it heals and that scar tissue goes away. As somebody who's partially torn their quad, I get it. So they're just being extra cautious. I think he plays as well. Noah, I'm not quite sure about. Just quite not, just don't have a vibe of what really the injury is. And I think that's the more ambiguous one. But if Cosme and Terry run out that tunnel with Bates and everybody who's returned over the last 2 weeks and Jaden a week of playing on that brace, feeling more comfortable with it, I think the offense is going to be very close to its top potential.
My man, and I'm glad that you didn't go farther into the brace because that was my next question for you. How did you? Because me personally, I think Jaden looked completely comfortable. He looked like his former self. He didn't seem hampered at all, either by the injury or by the brace. What was your kind of thought process with Jaden's play yesterday, given with the brace on?
All I heard was RG3, RG3, and I'm like, this is the same brace, guys. Breathe. It's 13 years later, and technology has moved ahead. But I think the first time I saw him burst through the pocket, I said, okay, he's fine because he plays at such a, and I think someone's called someone cool hand loop. He never looks rattled, and I think the most rattled I think we've ever seen Jaden was that Green Bay game. I think that was when he looked rattled. That's when he was trying to go too fast, and that's when he picked up that injury on that flip tackle against the Packers. But if you notice, he never looked rushed. He never looked thing, but he could run when he needed to run. Like I think the play that showed it the best was that the Bill run where he went up the middle and bounced out to the right, and who's running out in front to block with Jaden, and he has the smile on his face. Like that just lets you know that the brace is probably the furthest thing from his mind. Does he want to wear it? Absolutely not. But it didn't hinder him at all. And when Coach Quinn said he's 100%, he was 100%. They didn't do many design runs. I think they did one on the first drive, which I didn't. I understood it, but in that sequence of plays, maybe not. But it just kind of showed, hey, Chargers, he's there, and he ran when he needed to. And I think that's always the big thing with him. If he can run when he wants to, he's fine.
Yeah, Jaden's mom had quote tweeted Deuce, who highlighted that play of Bill's run to the outside and Jaden getting up there to block and saying that a lot of Commanders fans nearly had a heart attack when he was running. Not gonna lie to you, I wasn't having a heart attack. I actually wanted to see him truck somebody.
I,
Just to
I
get
didn't
a,
realize it was him for a second. Then I was like, hold on, that's Jaden going out front. I mean, he would have won the battle with somebody coming up there, but that just shows his joy, his passion for the game, and that's contagious. Like everyone else is like, okay, he's laughing, he's smiling, and there was times when he was fussing too. But you saw that this thing. The knee is not to worry about.
Absolutely. And he definitely seemed like his former self. And it was beautiful to see the game kind of slow down for him because a lot of people will talk about the injuries to the Chargers offensive line. And look, you can make that excuse for our defensive line. And if you're a Chargers fan, of course, or rival fans or whatever have you. But it wasn't like they were that injured defensively. Washington really just got a hold of them by their ears, so to speak. But Felix, my last question for you. Let's talk about the Bill of Rights. My man JCM, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, coming into this game, took it by the horns, 14 carries, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions on 39 yards, and averaged 7.9 on the ground. This kid, Felix, he has shown the ability to be physical, running through tackles, has shown the burst to be able to plant his foot and get upfield in a quick manner, and also some phenomenal vision and skinniness to get through some holes. I mean, sky's the limit for this young man.
Yeah, and I think people were excited to see it. I was amazed to see when I saw it in camp. OTAs is one thing, but in camp when you really got to see it live, it was like, oh, okay. And you got to realize he was going against a very good defensive front in what Washington presented. So he got a lot of good on the job training, so to say. But now you're able to expand the playbook with him, and he can take on the Eckler role and the B-Rob role. So they started it doing it by committee, and it was working because Washington entering the game was the number 3 rushing offense in the league. They left the game as the number 1 rushing offense in the league.
Right.
So it it showed that they don't have to, and they can kind of go with the hot hand, but they saw his versatility. I think, I mean, the play I mentioned earlier with the run and cut back to the outside, but the pass catch, just the
Yeah.
reception and the burst down the sideline. It's not just he caught it and turned upfield. He was burning down that sideline, and it took like arm stretch tackles to try to get him out of bounds. So I think you throw that in there, that's a back that has a lot of potential in this league. And what he's starting to realize is what every running back realizes when they get in the league: how to better protect myself from hits. And he took a lot of good, like the Giants hit him a bit, the Packers hit him a bit, so he had to kind of recover from that. But you could see himself doing these runs, but not taking those huge hits. And if he learns that part of the game, sky's the limit because he really can catch, he really can run. He picks up some pass blocking. He'll be there. He'll definitely be there because even both runs on those outside, he burned past somebody who should have been there. So the sky's the limit for that kid.
We
Yeah,
talked about the my bad. We talked about the hits by AP. That might be a grand slam right there to get that guy in the 7th round and the potential that he potentially has in this offense for this team. So we'll see.
Yeah, with everyone complaining, saying that we needed to take Dravion Henderson or Amarion Hampton, looks like we won the better end of that deal in the 7th round, to be perfectly
Yeah.
honest with you. And the one issue I did have with Tom Brady calling the game is he said there was really bad defense by the Chargers on the JCM touchdown run. I think it was the first or second one. It was like, wait a minute, you got to give some credit to the offensive line because, like you had
Right.
talked about, Chris Paul and not Ollie Brady, I think it was Wiley or Badass, got out there and sealed the outside perfectly for him. But
Yeah.
Felix, sorry, what were we saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say that was Biotish. Biotish pulls on that, and he seals that in. And then that linebacker who started even with JCM could not run. He
Yep.
just couldn't get there. So I mean, that's scheme, but that's also blocked up very well. So like you said, it was a lot of, well, the Chargers didn't do this, but instead of Washington did this, which is
Yeah.
two different stories.
Literally all I heard all day was, well, the Chargers didn't do this and they didn't play the brand of football they've been playing all year and the mistakes. And that at some point, it's got to be maybe the other team caused all that type of stuff for them.
Yeah, and I absolutely
Absolutely.
love to see Bill in those pass sets where they leaked him out in the check mark route, and then he just skates on the linebacker who's diving at his feet from behind. And then the screenplay I thought was beautifully designed as well. Cliff definitely deserves some credit for actually sticking with the run game. This offense goes as far as the run game does, and
Absolutely.
As long as Bill is back there running the toting the rock, I think we're gonna be in a good place. Felix, before you get out of here, would you like to plug your social media handle, sir?
Yep. Follow me on B Commander 2407 on X, and then Bless Commander on IG and Blue Sky and whatever else there's out there.
My man.
TikTok. There you go.
My man. Hey, Felix, enjoy your Monday night. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Kick
All right.
back and relax, brother.
All right. Y'all have a
Appreciate
good
it.
one. See y'all later.
See you, brother. All right, everybody. We just spoke with the man, Mr. Felix Trammell. Always appreciate his time. Hall, you had to pull some receipts today on Twitter, which is unlike you. You are not.
It's unlike me, but
Usually, you're not very aggressive. You're like,
yeah, I was had a couple drinks in me, and I was feeling myself a little bit, and I was just thinking back to which again, I wasn't even trying to like slight Justin Herbert in the post, like the original post that I made like back in like August, whatever it was, and because I was
it
like
was.
that
You
was
were
my
more so talking about the media and their
Yeah.
infatuation with Justin Herbert.
exactly.
I
It's
get it.
because like basically what it was they had a list.
'cause he's white.
I
I
like
get
Chase
it.
Daniels too. Chase Daniels too. That's my guy. I liked him when he was on TV breaking down stuff, but he had Justin Herbert above Jaden Daniels, and I'm like, I get it. Like if you want to just go like overall, just like the prototypical quarterback, all right, cool. I'll give that to Justin Herbert. He's top 5 prototypical quarterback of all time. But like going into that point last year, what had Justin Herbert done that Jaden Daniels hadn't done? He'd already accomplished more in that 1 year than he had throughout his couple years in the league so far. That's why I was like, what's the media needs to like get off of the potential of Justin Herbert until he actually shows and does something. And that was my guy. That was my favorite quarterback coming out in that draft. So like I'm a Justin Herbert guy. I liked him at Oregon. So then all the Chargers fans randomly, I don't even know how they found my post other than they probably clicked on the quote tweets and scrolled down to see who was hating on Justin Herbert, found me, which I was hating on him. And we were going back and forth like throughout the day. So I just felt the need to take it upon myself to just bring those receipts back up, just a couple months ago and just kind of ask those people like, hey, so how do you feel about that list now in so many words? And didn't get many replies back.
Yeah, it was very shocking to me because you're typically not the very aggressive type in this sort of sense. But when it comes to Jaden Daniels, you certainly are, and rightfully so, sir. Rightfully so, sir. Jedi 5 was on his stuff yesterday. And look, the crazy thing is Bill had such a great game that nobody even remembers the fumble, which could have been a crazy circumstance in itself. But the complimentary football that Washington played with yesterday certainly changed the tide. And also, I wanted to give a shout out. Tony Franchise on Twitter said to us, he doesn't have a question for the show, but what he said is wanted to shout out the LA Commanders fans because they were deep and could be felt through the TV. And he's absolutely right. There were multiple times I heard the defensive chants when our defense was on the field. And I was like, whoa.
Whenever Luke caught that 50-yard bomb, all you hear on the TV was Luke. There's a couple times they showed the crowd, and it was like, obviously, there's like, is there going to be some powder blue and whatnot? But there was a whole lot of burgundy sprinkled up in them seats, too. So definitely shout out to all the fans that travel to all the away games and stuff like that, because we definitely represent on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a sight to see. And that's why, look, man, I respect Magic Johnson. I respect people out in LA. I'm not crapping on Compton. I'm not trying to cause any turf issues. You know what I'm saying? My only point is,
better start on the East-West Coast, man. Like
I'm just saying, it's insane that we change all of our primetime games to like go to those people. They don't care about sports. Like, come on, dude. Like, why do we have to wait till 8:00 so California people can be off? Like, they're not getting off work watching football anyway. A lot of those LA people. I'm saying, I got a boy in LA, cool dude. I'm just saying they don't really care all that much. East Coast drives the media market. It absolutely does. But we cowtail to the West Coast for some odd frickin' reason that I can't stand. Now, the question from the Colonel, Hall. I admit, I thought the Chargers were going to hand us our asses yesterday. We had several backups step up and perform admirably. Notably, Luke McCaffrey, Jeremy Reeves, and yes, kicker Matt Gay. Who am I missing? Who else are you guys giving your game beers to?
So I will go with, we already named a couple guys that I was going to give some game beers to, but
still can.
I'll say another guy that I would, hold on, you got to go real quick. I got to unlock this door. My bad.
Unlock that door, baby. For one, Johnny Newton. Johnny Newton showed out 2 tackles and a sack. I think Mikey Samerstill deserves a game beer. He was second on the team in tackles with 9 tackles, 2 passes deflected, 1 interception. Obviously, that interception, he was in great position to make a play on that football. I'm glad that we have adopted the zone coverage in the red zone, and it's about time that our big men got their hands up, and Johnny Newton deflecting that football for the catch, and his sack was absolutely fantastic. I also think Dorrance Armstrong deserves a shout-out as well. He was 5 sacks so far through the season. I saw on Twitter today he's 1 sack away from a $250,000 bonus, which first thing that came to mind is that's it, but of course, I'm not getting handed a bonus check like that, as much as awesome that would be. But Dorrance Armstrong definitely deserves a shout. I think Ben Sinnott has performed admirably and done his job very well. He's picking up from Bates. And I think, honestly, look, Jeremy Reeves does deserve a game beer. He made some plays. But Jeremy also needs to shore up his tackling. Like, I cannot shake that image of him grasping for Justin Herbert's ankle as he ran by him on that 40-yard touchdown. You're a safety. That's a quarterback. You put your damn shoulder into his waist, and you make him regret having to run that football. I don't over pursue that. I know there's a lot going on in football play. I love Jeremy Reeves a lot. I just can't shake that. And the missed tackles were a legit thing yesterday. It's amazing what winning football does for you, because in that second half, they obviously cleaned up the missed tackles. But the first half, I couldn't tell you how many tweets I saw on Twitter of people just absolutely destroying this team because of the missed tackles. It was a thing. And then the second half, they cleaned it up, and it's a completely different ball game.
Yeah, I feel you on the missed tackles. I was watching the game, just yelling at the TV like, "Make a tackle! Stop missing the first tackle. This could be tackles for losses instead of gains of 1 or gains of 0." But hopefully they shore that up. They shored it up a little bit in the second half too. But yeah, I was gonna say Dorrance Armstrong was gonna be a guy that I was gonna give a game beer to, just because he was like my sleeper. Everyone was talking about where we're going to get the pass rush from and how we're going to replace Dante Fowler Jr. And he was my guy that, if you just looked at some of the games going back to the back end of last year and into the playoffs, he was the guy, once he finally got healthy again and healthy enough to get back on the field and be himself, he was starting to pick it up. And I was hoping that would carry over into this season. It seems like it has. He's crazily on pace for – he's probably not going to get to this point, but he's on pace for 17 sacks right now. 5 sacks in 5 games. So he was definitely a guy that I would give a game beer to, because he is balling.
Another guy that deserves a game beer for the best
Old man Vaughn.
For the best celebration in the NFL. By far, it made me burst out laughing today rewatching the game. He gets that sack. He had 3 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and 2 quarterback hits. When he gets up and starts doing the belt to ass celebration, dude, I was dying laughing.
You know what's funny about that? I think he's like, because he's like into riding horses. So I think he's not a Bronco anymore. So maybe, I know back in the day, it was like him riding a horse.
Okay.
But since he's in Washington now, maybe it is a belt to ass thing. So
that's how I interpreted it. But that sounds like a great explanation, but maybe it could just be belt to ass.
No, he's in Washington now. We're going to change it. It's belt to ass.
Okay, good. Because he dominated that tight end, and obviously Jacob Martin got the half sack on that one. So obviously Von Miller and Jacob Martin, they deserve a game beer themselves. Hat tip to them. But that was the funniest celebration I have seen. It was just straight belt to ass, and he was enjoying himself, and I enjoyed that celebration myself. Javon Kinlaw, I uploaded a video of the play from yesterday where he just does his dip and rip, like immediately going to his left, getting away from the left guard to be able to get the stop of Marion Hampton in the backfield, which slows him up and then doesn't tackle him. But other guys come up, and it's just like, first thing that came to my mind is like, what are they feeding this guy? Because my goodness, dude, he is insane out there. He's like a kid going after candy on Halloween. It's absolutely nuts to see him playing as well as he is right now. Javon Kinlaw definitely deserves a hat tip. And also, Daron Payne. Right now, I would say Daron Payne is probably the best defensive tackle against screens in the NFL. The Chargers ran that one screen to Marion Hampton, and Daron Payne is literally riding the offensive lineman's back to a Marion Hampton to get that like -7 yards on that play. I mean, it's absolutely amazing that he's able to sniff those out so easily. I think Daron Payne is playing very, very good football right now.
No, I 100% agree. My man, big kinfolk and contract year Payne. That is a force you do not want to be reckoned with right now.
And then Johnny Newton getting into the mix, Eddie Goldman as well, of course.
Yeah.
Let's keep that play up.
It's so crazy. It's kind of like the plan that AP and this coaching staff and front office kind of is like forming together, even though a lot of people had, once again, a lot of skeptical thoughts this offseason about the moves that they made. So again, we're just gonna let AP cook until further notice.
I do have one refute, however. With
no,
Felix.
No. Not everything is gonna be a hit.
I'm not saying that. I'm not crapping on AP. I just have one refute with you and Felix's game beer being handed to Marshawn Lattimore.
Give him a game beer, but
I'm taking that game beer away. Taking it away. I understand the fumble recovery. I wholeheartedly do. But why did Marshawn get that fumble recovery?
I don't know. He's probably letting his receiver run wide open or something.
Because that was his man. Because that was his man. And Quan Martin had to come up and force that damn fumble. Otherwise, we'd be sitting here saying Marshawn just giving everything up. Look, there was one play where they ran Ladd McConkey on a crossing route again, and Marshawn goes over top, and it's easy. No, it was Keenan Allen's. It was Keenan Allen's crosser across the field.
I know you're talking about.
And it's like that's Keenan is older than you are. Like you can't stick on him. Like, what are we doing here, pal?
Also, as soon as you go over the top, you already know you're about to get beat. So
exactly. That's my
just
whole
like in basketball, when you go over top of a pick, you're not going to go over top of a pick against Steph Curry.
Right.
Like, what are we doing?
Exactly. Or that's like going over the top on a pick on somebody like Rajon Rondo or something. Like
Right.
No, they're going to go straight to the basket. Like that's exactly what's going to happen. And
same thing happened with Bobby Wagner last week. Like he got a little bit more mixed up, but like even Dan Quinn said, if he closes that gap and goes underneath that, he maybe obviously Bijan's still going to catch the ball, but maybe he tackles him for like a 10 to 15-yard gain. Instead, he goes over top of it. Now he's extra beat. Now he's going down the sideline.
Look, credit to him for getting the fumble recovery. Very, very happy for him. But I'm looking for some pass deflections. I'm looking for some plays on the ball. We have not seen that yet. Everything is in recovery, and I understand that we want to see something good out of Marshawn. So whenever something good happens, we're like, heck yeah.
Wait a minute. He doesn't lack confidence, but maybe this is a confidence builder.
Sure, I hope so.
Look, man, I'm just grasping at this point. I'm just grasping.
I understand what you're saying, though. He's like, this could be a confidence builder, but he's already a very confident man, so I don't know how else.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was joking.
Then his head's going to be too far up then. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to crap on the dude. I'm just saying I expect more. Now, the next question.
Good thing is, I don't think the good thing is, even though this is every player, but I feel like he really means it when he's like, I know I can do better and be better. And I feel like a lot of the times where it is like he's not the old Marshawn that he used to be, obviously. And he's more than likely he's getting beat a lot of times. But I feel like part of the time is like he's just trying to do so much and make a play that he does way too much and then doesn't make a play.
Yes. And it goes back to my whole thing. Why was he there to get the fumble recovery? I'm glad that he did. Getting dusted. But now the next question from the Colonel Hall. I don't mean to be negative on a beautiful victory Monday, guys, but I'm just saying. Next question from the Colonel. Besides learning we have a potential offensive rookie of the year for a second year in a row, Hall. Bill, obviously, is who he's talking about. Did we learn anything about our wide receiving core?
I think we learned that Luke McCaffrey, and then people forget this is only his third year, like his entire college and professional career playing wide receiver position. So I think we're seeing that Luke McCaffrey is starting to gain a lot more confidence and make a play week after week after week. Hopefully that continues. And he's carved out a nice role in the special teams as well. And obviously Jalen Lane with that 3rd and 16 pass, it seems like he's starting to get worked into the lineup a little bit more. Obviously, I know there's injuries, but the more reps, the better for a young guy like that. So I think the main thing that we learned, you could say that is once we get Terry back, and hopefully if we ever get Noah Brown back on the field for more than a game or two, I think that we learned that this wide receiver core, which a lot of people thought was iffy going into the year, has a little bit more depth than we thought at the beginning. And hopefully Chris Moore can just get jet-setted back down to the bottom of that list or the practice squad once Terry and hopefully Noah get back.
Look, man, Chris Moore had one great catch against the Giants week 1, and that was fantastic. That was a beautiful catch on the sideline. So what we've learned, Colonel, is that this team is very good at contested catches from the wide receiver standpoint, and that's not even including Terry McLaurin on the field. You obviously saw that from the Luke McCaffrey catch, where that was a contested catch, brought that ball in. A lot of credit to Luke for that, and a lot of credit to Jaden. That was a beautiful ball, perfectly placed right in the basket. The throw to Deebo Samuel in the corner of the end zone, which, I still lost by 0.5 points because of the Bills' defense. I'm not pissed off about it at all. I'm not sure if you could tell. But, that touchdown pass, I needed badly because I started Jaden, of course. But, when he threw that, I was like, no way. And Debo just comes down with it perfectly. He's on the run. Look, the D-line is running at his face, and he just escapes a little bit and just drops it over, just like he was handing him the ball.
Do you hear Tom Brady just laughing, like giggling, just like, because he's just like, damn, this kid is good. Like, oh my God, he's just giggling like a little girl, just like, oh my God, what did I just watch?
No, he can't wait to talk to Jackie after the game to talk to him about that. Her son play. He's trying to get those brownie points. But we learned that we are a contested catch wide receiving type of team. But we also learned that we can't catch footballs when we're wide open, Chris Moore. I mean, my goodness, man. My goodness. I mean, dude. Just
that was another dart dime just right into the breadbasket on the run. Had to mess the highlight play up, man. That could have been sports in the top 10. You had to mess it up.
Yeah. And which is my whole point about Jaden blocking for Bill. If he would have trucked somebody, that's a top 10 play. They're going to be showing that everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And you know how much it would hype up the team to see Jaden out there lead blocking for Bill and lay somebody out? You're telling me your quarterback doing that doesn't jack everybody up? Look, I understand about the injury concerns, but the injury happens typically when you are the receiver of a violent, aggressive action. When you are the violent aggressor, more times than not, your body is not taking that blow. It's the receiving aspect of it. I'm pretty sure, isn't that not Newton's law? It's Newton's law, some physics, something. I don't know. I'm not smart enough for it. But it's someone's law.
Motion stays in motion or something like that.
Right, something along those lines.
But that's why I laugh whenever people are like, that's why I laugh when people are like, he needs to not run as much and da-da-da-da. You do realize he can get hit in the pocket and probably get a way worse injury than when he's out in the field and kind of see what's coming at him and see what's going on. Obviously, he got hit with his knee, but he was looking back at Michael Parsons, turned around and was like, oh, damn. So, yeah, when you're out in the field and out running, you can actually, like you said, brace yourself for the hit, see what's coming at you, as opposed to just sitting in the pocket from your blind side and just getting crushed. Like,
all that being said, Colonel, the contested catch aspect of our wide receiver unit, I notice that nobody is complaining about separation rate. It's funny that when Terry McLaurin is out, no one's complaining about separation rate when the separation really isn't happening less now, or more so. With Terry out. It just seems that nobody wants to complain about it.
But you know why it is? It's because we have a quarterback that can make those tight window throws. Back before, it was always like, oh, Terry can't separate. But it was always like the bum noodle arm quarterbacks that were like underthrowing balls and weren't fitting them in the tight windows. So he was forced to make contested catches. Now we got a quarterback that can put it where it needs to be. So, but I get what you're saying, though.
We just have a weird fan base that hates on players on their own team because fans like them, and it's
I will agree with that. People would rather be right.
Weird.
People would rather be right than just be like, my bad, he got it. I was probably wrong. They're just gonna keep beating the drum and be like, no, I'm right.
They just want to be right, man. They just want to know that they're right. I get it. I totally do. Now, the last question from the Colonel. I know I ask about this every week, but give your thoughts on Matt Gay's performance of late. I was sick to my stomach the first couple games realizing the expensive contract we gave him. Is he beginning to live it up?
Matt Gay should take a lot of pride in what he's doing. See what I did there?
He should take a parade.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's been good, though. He's been definitely been a kind of a 180 from what he was in the beginning of the season. I know it would be like 3 for 6 or something like that. Now he's been like 5 for 5, 6 for 6 the last.
How about you don't talk about it and jinx him?
Yeah. I am a firm believer in once you start talking about how good a kicker has been or whatever he's done, they're probably due for a stinker.
We've learned this so many times on broadcast. We're like, he's made 16 straight.
You can pretty much cash it in, then he's going to miss that next kick.
Yep, basically every time. So let's just not talk about it. I think Matt Gay has been phenomenal. I think he's done his job. He's done a good job, does his thing, tied up the game 10-10. Yeah, and he's doing his thing, man. Really enjoy Matt Gay on our team. Very diverse group, the Washington Commanders, and I'm all for it. I'm not Pete Hegseth, you know what I'm saying? But I'm all for it. Now, the next question we have is in the Discord from Tim Towner. Let's talk about wide receivers. McCaffrey is on the rise. Jalen Lane needs to be spending over an hour every day catching passes from the Jugs gun. Chris Moore as well, but he may be a lost cause. Tay Martin got a stupid personal foul. Will both be discarded and replaced by Robbie Chosen. Yeah, let's just call him by his real name, Robbie Anderson. And of course, Debo is awesome, and if he can avoid injury, then he's playing his way into an extension. What say you? Let me take that back, because I think Chosen, it might be a religious thing. So if he's a God-fearing, Christ-loving man, then okay. I'm all for you, Robbie Chosen. It's just, the whole meta world peace thing. Rather just call you Ron Artest.
What was your question? What was the question?
Will both be discarded and replaced by Robbie Chosen, meaning Chris Moore and Tay Martin.
No. I mean, Robbie Anderson might not even be on the squad like a month from now. Like once Terry gets back and then hopefully Noah's back and consistently on the field, I don't think they're gonna. I mean, yeah. I mean, who knows who will be on the practice squad still? But I mean, if he ever sees the field, it's gonna be due to like injury. It's not be because he's getting elevated above a guy like Jalen Lane or Luke McCaffrey, especially with Luke McCaffrey starting to ascend a little bit game by game. And obviously, like I said, Jalen Lane is young. He needs to get the reps, but it's good that he's getting the reps now and kind of like taking his licks as far as like drop passes and whatnot. But for every drop pass he has, he comes back and he makes a catch to kind of move the chains or get the offense going or something like that. So I think that he's coming along slowly but surely, and I think that he'll be a vital piece going forward. But yeah, I don't see either of those guys getting over jumped by Robbie Chosen Anderson.
Yeah, and you're hating on my boy, Tim. Jalen Lane, I'm sure, is already on the jugs machine. So put some respect on my boy's name. That one ball was too far out in front of him by Jaden. And look, you can't really give the excuse because I don't believe in excuses. But he was on the run. He put it on the dot. You need a little bit more air under that, a little bit more flotilla on that thing. It was just a little bit too hard and too outside of Jalen Lane. I don't even think he got a finger on it, to be honest with you. But he caught the 3rd and 16, which kind of changed the tide. And that was before Jaden got into his rhythm again of being very accurate, putting the ball in a very good spot. And so you got to give the benefit of the doubt to Jalen Lane in that regard. Robbie Chosen, I think the only thing that he's going to be replacing is one of the male cheerleaders. Hopefully the ones in those crop tops. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he could definitely be out there busting some moves, dude. I'm going to tell you that right now. I think Robbie Chosen's been working on his dance game.
You also got to look at it like a guy like Luke McCaffrey. You're seeing that it took him a season and then a couple games into that season to kind of finally, okay, now he's stepping up making plays for us. So not every wide receiver is going to be like a just burst on the scene and hit the ground running type of guy. Sometimes it takes guys a year, a couple games to really get that confidence and get going.
I will say, if anyone is going to be replacing Tay Martin, which I think Tay Martin is a good football player, he had a very good tackle on the kickoff, that I was almost going to upload. Took a lot of respect to Tay Martin for making that play. As a wide receiver, phenomenal tackle. But in regards to Chris Moore, I think that Ja'Cory Brooks should be the one replacing rather than Robbie Chosen Anderson, in my personal opinion. Now, this next question is a phenomenal one from our boy Scott Hartley in the UK. Oi!
Oi!
Is that a momentum and season-changing win, similar to the Bengals last season? Pull out a statement win and never look back.
So I'm glad you asked that question because I was actually thinking about this earlier, just randomly driving home, sitting in traffic. So if you think about because I was listening to Grant and Danny, this is why I kind of started thinking about this, and they asked the question, "Do you think Jaden Daniels is back?" And damn, I didn't know Reed logged on today. That's crazy. Do you think Jaden Daniels is back? And whatever the question was. So I started thinking about it, and I was like, if you go back to last season, that Tampa Bay game, obviously he was running around. It was 15, 16 rushes, whatever it was.
He looked very confused. The pocket. He looked very confused.
Scrimming out the pocket, and then we got to that Giants game. And in the first half of that Giants game, it was kind of and then he kind of hit his stride.
On the last drive, I said it after that game, the last drive against the Giants in week 2 last year is when everything changed.
Exactly. And then you saw, okay, then he goes into Monday Night Football against the Bengals and puts on a freaking show with the highlight throw at the end of the game. And then that just carries right into Arizona where he just went super hamage on the Cardinals, literally beat them by himself. And so I was thinking to myself, Okay, yeah, the first game of the season, he looked a little bit rusty. Second game of the season with the Packers obviously didn't go as planned. Gets the injury. Now he's back, and you saw that it took a quarter and a half ish to kind of for him to really get going, get in that motion, and really get into that rhythm. Look like the old five from last year. So my thinking is, long story short, now I think he's about to, like last year, go on a tear for a couple games where he's about to blaze the Bears on Monday Night Football next Monday, and then we're gonna roll into Dallas. He's gonna put up crazy numbers against Dallas because he's finally hitting that rhythm, hitting his stride, and it's about to be over for these next couple teams and their defenses. So that's what I say to that question.
I would say I would hope so, Scott. But I would say let's hold back on the season changing type of thing. We've seen through 5 games that the Commanders' defensive line dominates offensive lines that are banged up or just straight up not good. We got to make sure that that defensive line does that against good offensive lines, and then we can say, okay, now we're really cooking with gas here. So look, as an offense, I think we are starting to gain our identity in the sense of everything goes to the ground. You notice yesterday we come out. It's first play of the series. First series comes out. It's a 7-yard pass to Debo. Then Jaden comes out and does that QB run for nothing. And then it's an incomplete pass after that, and we punt. You really saw the explosion once the running game got going. And I think that's the kind of identity that we are morphing into. And especially when we get Sam Cosby back, when we can just stuff it down people's throats like Reed on a Saturday, we're going to really open up this offense into what their capabilities are. On top of Jaden's arm and his deep field accuracy that he's able to throw with, but also the fact that you have to worry about Jaden's legs. And if you have to worry about our standard run game, the misdirection off of that, you also have to worry about Debo motioning back there if he's going to get the football or not. That is a lot of things for a defense to take into account for. And running the football well, effectively, sustainably is what's really going to carry this team from here on out. It was a fantastic statement game to really prove what they're worth and to show that Jaden Daniels still has Justin Herbert's number. But I'm not gonna say it's season changing. There's still a lot that needs to get cleaned up.
Yeah, I forgot to add to that part about the season changing. I don't think it's like you said. I don't think it's a season change. I mean, it could be. Like we'll see on Monday, but I don't think it's a season changing. Like win because say we lose that game, we drop to what would be 2-3. We still got everything in front of us as far as like the potential playoff berth and. I mean, even winning the division if the Eagles start to like falter or trip up or something like that. So it still could be like righted if they got wronged on this past yesterday. But I will say that it could potentially be like a springboard type of game where it's like, okay, like you said, now we kind of like building our confidence on offense. We know our identity or we're building our identity on offense. And the defense is like, okay, now that we got 5 back and he's looking like himself again, we ourselves know that we just don't got to lose the game for 5. We just got to do enough to get him the ball back or just make a stop or two, bend but don't break, and get him the ball back, and everything will be fine. So I think it might be a confidence builder as far as like a springboard game, but I don't think it's a season-changing like type of game.
Yeah, because there's going to be issues that arise. But you kind of saw this in the LA game yesterday where Jalen gets back. We're scoring points in a quick manner, 17 unanswered. We're forcing them into passing situations. That's where the pass rush comes alive. And credit to Joe Witt for that beautiful, beautiful blitz call where you heard them on the TV broadcast. Frankie Louvu is off to the side on the right side. And they're yelling, and Justin Herbert says, 4, you got 4, you got 4. And then they snap the ball, and Frankie Louvu drops back into coverage. So they moved the protection left, banking on Frankie Louvu. And I uploaded this on Twitter today. The left guard blocks the nose tackle and is looking at Frankie Louvu as Jordan McGee is running through the B gap. And not him. Deron Payne is, because the right guard took up Jordan McGee. So Deron Payne is literally a clear path at Justin Herbert to force an incompletion on 3rd down. I mean, I thought that was beautifully executed to be able to utilize Jordan McGee. The opposing offense was totally confused, and that is what, as a defense, that is exactly what you're trying to do. And the media is hyping up Justin Herbert. To do that against Justin Herbert, saying a lot. Now, the next question from Deluxe. Starting to see production from Luke and McGee. How do you think they performed, Hall?
Yeah, obviously Luke had the big catch that not really like sparked up the offense, but definitely was a momentum shifter type of play from Luke. And then he had the pretty good run in the opening kickoff that we received for getting the offense the first time. But yeah, he's definitely – this is, 3 weeks in a row where he's made a significant type of play on offense, and hopefully he'll keep building week by week. And instead of getting one significant play a game, maybe it turns into 2 significant plays a game. So definitely like what I'm seeing from him. And then McGee,
All
like
my
you talked about,
stand up.
yeah, he only had 12 plays, but there was definitely he flashed on a couple of those 12 that he was out there, and hopefully he can stay healthy and keep getting the reps that he's needed as a young player. Keep learning from Bobby, keep learning from Frankie, and yeah, you definitely see the speed stick out the most with a guy like McGee, where when he sees it, diagnoses it, shoots the gap, he's right there in their backfield to make a play. And yeah, definitely like what I'm seeing from both those guys.
Yep, and what were the snap counts roughly for the tight end room? Ertz had a low stat day. How are the young tight ends looking in their roles? Bates is doing his thing. I loved the play call when we were backed up, I think on our 2 or 3 yard line. Late in the game, we needed to get down. I think this might have been the last drive. It was the last drive, first play. And Cliff calls a little play action rollout. And John Bates just leaks through, and Jaden at the last second sees him, dumps that ball to him, and he's able to pick up 9 yards to get us away from the goal line. I thought that was masterful by everybody involved. John Bates for securing it and coming down with it. But Ben Sinnott has really shown to be doing good things on the run game. And that's, if you really want to have balls thrown at you, you learn this from Reed. It starts on the ground. You got to ground and pound. And Ben Sinnott has certainly been doing that. So expect more reps and more balls coming his way. I don't know the exact snap count, so I'm sorry, Arch. My bad. But we got to head out of here. My kids are about to be home. It was a pleasure. Thank you if you made it this far. You're a frickin' champion. I can't thank you enough for tuning in for us, Hall. Love your kitchen as always, brother. It's a different view now. I know I can feel like I've seen the whole thing.
This is the living room view, not the kitchen this time.
There you go. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the night. I hope you enjoy Monday Night Football. And we'll see you again on Friday for another live session. Tune in then, guys. I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall.
And we'll see you on Friday. Washington football. Woo!
Peace.
What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again.